I found a poem that I wrote in high school in ninth grade, and I actually got an award for the poem. And it was the type of poem where you had to write the word going down, and then you write what it means. So the poem going down spelled death, and across it wrote, "Dying inside is everyone. A part of me wants to live, the other cries to be killed, hoping one day the wish will be filled." And I thought, I got an award for that poem when that was such a cry for help. And I just think, I wrote this poem in ninth grade at school when I was cutting. I was so isolated. And I just think to myself, wow. Instead of getting an award, I wish the teacher had called social services. Or it just showing how bad of a cry for help kids have an avenue at school, because they're away from, a lot of times they're away from the main abusers, and have this place at school where they can kind of escape for a moment. And for a moment, I wrote down what I was really feeling and where I really was, and how I look at that now as that not a good poem, it was a cry for help. The church that we were going to as a child, I looked at my pastor at the time of that church as God. So he saw, and they knew about the abuse, but my dad was so well known in the community that it was completely ignored. I remember a time my mama we called the police so many times as kids, but I remember a time where the law changed. And then when they got called for domestic violence, someone had to go to jail. So the church knew. But the church covered it up because my dad gave so much to the church. And my family gave so much to the church, and he was so well known in the community to where all the abuse was covered completely. And everybody knew, and no one helped at the church. And I took that as God saw, and God didn't help. And here we are in church, and they just didn't care, and he didn't care. I remember Easter Sunday, the pastor gave this big applaud thing, and they made my dad stand up, and they recognized him for giving all the eggs and everything to the church for the Easter program, and everybody clapped. And I remember sitting there thinking, God is gonna let him stand in church and get applauded for everything he has done. God lets a man who is molesting his daughter, beating his wife, an alcoholic, stand in front of this church and be applauded. So that made me think that the abuse must be okay, because God is allowing it to happen. I remember at one point I thought, well, if I'm not with God and I'm having this happen, then I must be a child of Satan's.